Hey everybody, it is Mike here from Sapulpa Times. Hope that your Wednesday is going to a great start. It is the first day of 2025. I can hardly believe it's here. It feels like the last couple of months has just flown right by. Um, Super excited to talk about everything we got to talk about. We got some stuff to get to here. I'm going in solo today. Lucy has the day off of work, so of course she was not going to be on the show today. But hope that maybe she's watching this and that you're having a great day, Lucy, as all the rest of you guys. I don't know about you, but I stayed up super late last night. I think I went to bed, yeah, after midnight. We did have some friends over, but one of them had to be at work this morning, and so they didn't get to hang out until the ball dropped, but we did get to have some good times with good friends yesterday evening. So I hope you got to also. I just saw that I've got a comment here I need to delete talking about the Christmas shoot, which is over. So that's always kind of a funny thing about the Christmas shoot. For most of us, the Christmas shoot ends in Sapulpa like probably right around Christmas Day, right? I mean, I think uh, as far as, you know, you get kind of, by Christmas Day, I'm ready for Christmas, love it, it's a great holiday, everything it stands for is awesome. But like December 26th, I'm looking forward to New Year's. I'm looking forward to a fresh start. Everything else that's going on that might have planned. Maybe you're making plans for the new year. Maybe you're just ready to get 2024 over with, which I certainly was. So I'm looking forward to 2025. But anyway, looking forward to hearing from you guys today. This is definitely going to be an interactive broadcast. We're going to talk about some different things that are happening. I want you guys to chime in with the comments and just let me know that you're watching. Say hey. First off, I want to just get this thing started right with a poll here that I'll keep open throughout the entire show. Let's see here. How excited are you guys about 2025? Let's talk about that to start with. So hopefully you can see that poll there, and you guys can chime in and let me know if you're excited or not excited about 2025. So 2024 was a big year for Sapulpa. It was, we had a lot happen this year, and we actually put out a story last week that talked about all of the biggest headlines that we had. And one thing that's always been kind of fascinating to me, I suppose, in terms of like the human psychology of it, is that the things that get the most clicks on our website and on our Facebook pages and stuff like that are not necessarily the most heartwarming stories. So we had a story late last year, or actually early last year, of a hit and run type scenario involving an elementary student. And that was a big story. And it was kind of a big, like, intense emergency story because at the time the police were looking for who had done it. And because that person had, from what it appeared, struck a child and then just drove off and left them there. And we didn't know whether this was like a hit and run scenario or what. I happened to be in the vicinity when I got the phone call that this had happened, so I rushed right over there. We were the first media that was on the scene there. And then we started talking with the school administrators and the police and other parents that were there and watched it happen. And little by little, we began to piece the story together. And we didn't talk to the driver of the vehicle, but what we found actually happened was this person was a grandmother or something, and they were dropping off their own child at the school, normal, doing it the way that they're supposed to do it, and going around that loop. And I think what happened is just at the right moment that they were turning out of the parking lot, this little girl was stepping off of the sidewalk, and it was just, basically, it was so quick and such a thankfully minor thing that she bumped that girl more or less, and she went to the ground. I mean, there was some injuries there, but she was okay. And then drove off, did not even know that anything had happened. And so when we talked to her, we didn't talk to her, but by the time the police talked to her about it, she was obviously tore up about it. You know, she was a grandmother. She wouldn't want to see anything like that happen to her child. Had no idea what had happened. but the police were able to talk to her, and they wrote the whole thing off as just an extremely unfortunate accident. I don't think anybody was ever charged in that, and it was just a difficult situation. So, but that story was kind of how we kicked off the year. That was one of our first biggest stories of the year, and went gangbusters on social media and stuff, mostly because of the fact that we were the first ones on the scene there, but also because of the nature of it. And so I'm just kind of reflecting about that a lot this year, is that, and it's been the case since Sapulpa Time started, is that most of the stories that get the most clicks and the most views and stuff are not always the most heartwarming stories. So that has always been the case. So I'm seeing some of you guys starting to chime in here. Good morning to all of you guys who are joining the show. We appreciate you guys coming in. Hope that your new year is going well so far. January 1st, 2025. It is I love this time of year. I really do. I know that I was just listening to somebody yesterday who was talking about that they don't see the point in it, basically. That, also January 2nd, it will also have been a year since the last January 2nd. But January 1st is the only one we really care about. And yeah, okay, you can be kind of a sourpuss about it, but I mean, the fact that it's kind of like Christmas, there's a collective celebration of the holiday season. And with New Year's Day, it's like there is a collective recognition of this is a new opportunity, hopefully, for you guys. It's a new year, a new chance to start fresh. I mean, it's kind of a really great example and exemplification of grace and mercy and things like that. You can kind of think about the past year and whatever you didn't like about the past year. It's well, here's a chance to start fresh. And really, I mean, if you believe what the Bible says, you actually get that every day, that God's mercies are new every morning, which is always awesome to think about. But as far as the collective nature, I really love the start of a fresh year. It's I haven't made the mistakes yet that I made in 2024. We haven't hit the low points or whatever. And you can kind of start with this fresh optimism and looking forward into going into the new year. And I hope that 2025 is looking like that for you. It is definitely looking like that for me. I'm someone who 2024 was an okay year, but honestly not a great year for us. And so I am very much looking forward to 2025. And we've got a lot of great stuff that's happening down the pipe here. We're going to talk about some of it. Before I get to most of that, I want to take a pause here and just give credit where it is due. I want to thank Sugar Llamas, which is open today, believe it or not. Most of the businesses are going to be closed for New Year's Day, but Sugar Llamas, they opened up at 9 a.m. and they're serving me. I got my Sugar Llama's house blend coffee here, and they're also doing a special on the sausage rolls. They buy two and get one free. So if you're looking for a place to get sausage rolls. But I always appreciate that they do that. They keep this place open for me, and we're able to get here and film our show here every time we do an episode. That's good. So anyway. Okay, so I am seeing some of you guys getting in on the comments. It's good. I did get a notice that I need to check my internet connection. I hope that everything is still going okay with that. So you guys be sure to ping me and let me know if you're having a hard time hearing me. Looks like everything's still going okay. I'm going to keep on trucking. So let's talk about what happened. Actually, let me recap one more thing I want to say about 2024. We had some great stories that happened. We had, in fact, I'll just pull it up and kind of go over some of them real quick because they were big deal. So just going right out of the gate, I don't know if you guys know, we got hit with a big freeze in January. It wasn't as bad as the year before, but it was still a big freeze. And if you guys are paying attention, we're actually expected to have another one this coming weekend. So it is bright and sunshiny right now, and how warm is it? It's 34 degrees, which is pretty chilly. But we're expecting an Arctic freeze to start hitting over the next couple of days. And right now, thank you, Benjamin, for letting me know that I'm still good on your end. That's good to hear. But for right now, as far as, unless I'm outdated just a little bit, I'll go double check this, but we're looking at possibly 1 to 3 inches of snow on Sunday. Now, the question is that going to stick around? Probably not. I'm not a meteorologist or anything, but the general rule is that if the ground has been too warm for the last several days. Snow doesn't tend to stick around. And of course, it was last Sunday that we had 65-degree, weather. And Monday, I think, was also close to that. So it's going to be super cold the next few days as we get into the weekend and then kick off the first couple of days of school returning. So you got to be ready for that. But it's funny how this always happens. I'm someone who really enjoyed like snowy cold weather during the Christmas season. I really wish that Oklahoma would get more of that. It almost never seemed to happen. Once in a blue moon, I guess that just means that you appreciate it much more whenever it happens. But this happened like 2 years in a row or something. We would get like this really good, beautiful snow, but it was always like 3 weeks after the Christmas shoot ended. And I was like, man, why couldn't we have this during the shoot? That would have been just magical. But anyway, we didn't. We're not going to have it this year, but it was fine. We had great numbers at the shoot. A lot of people came out to see it, and we're really pleased with the way that happened. So, and stay tuned because we're going to talk more about the Christmas shoot for 2025 as well coming up. So I am starting to see some comments from you guys talking about looking forward to 2025 over at D&T's Lost Treasures, which is, if you haven't been there, one of the better thrift stores in town over by Atwoods, over on Taft Avenue. And they're saying they're looking forward to 2025. 2024 was pretty tough, to be honest. Bro, I feel ya. I really do. I think a lot of us can probably relate, whether it comes to what's happening in the economy and inflation, the political landscape, things happening just not so much on the local level, but on the national level that, had a lot of people really concerned about what was going to happen in 2025. So whether that all worked out the way you wanted it to or not, at the very least, that part is over and we can kind of move on with our lives. But I did have some other stories from 2024 I wanted to mention. So one of the big ones here, you might remember in February, Boss Hog Barbecue announced that they were dropping the price of most of the items in their menu. And that was a big, big deal when we did that story, and we're really appreciative that they did that. And those prices have continued to stay down. So as far as I'm aware, they have not brought those prices back up. And I hope that you guys are supporting them. They are actually the last mom and pop barbecue restaurant that we have here in Sapulpa, which is crazy because just like, I think it was 3, 4, 5 years ago, we had like 5 or 6. And now they're the last ones holding out after these other ones have closed or retired. And so Boss Hog still holding strong there. Hope that we get to see them for years to come. The other thing that made the news in February was the master plan for Town West. And so Town West is, just being real honest, it's kind of a situation where a lot of us are kind of wondering, like, why did Sapulpa ever get... This happened way before I was here. It happened before most of the administration that we have at City Hall was here. And I think, a lot of us were not real sure why Sapulpa decided to annex Town West into its city limits. I don't know if it was the retail development side of things, the tax revenue over there. I don't know what the plans were at the time, but whatever they were, they've got plans in the works now. And so you guys might recall that over the last couple of years, there's been a big change in the Turnpike Interstate there, the interchange. Something that continues to be a pain in the butt for me and my wife when we're coming from Tulsa and we need to get on New Sapulpa Road. And remember how that was super easy? You just stayed over there and like it was real easy. And now you got to like take that exit and like catch yourself and make sure you don't do it the same way you've been doing it for the last like 15 or 20 years. I know that you guys can relate to me on that. So hopefully you're not getting lost and ended up on the turnpike like we almost have a couple of times. But City Hall has announced the Project Edge is the name of that district over there now. It's called the Edge District. And they announced a series of developments and stuff that's going to be happening over there. And it's kind of like what they're trying to do with the downtown master plan in terms of wanting to make it a lot more walkable, pedestrian friendly, but they're also wanting to do a lot with the area that they had there. They've got a really great opportunity because that is such a major thoroughfare for a lot of the travelers. It's on I-44, it's part of Route 66, it's right there at the Turnpike Gate. it gets a lot of traffic, and so there's a lot of opportunity there that Sapulpa has. And so we've got the Town West Shopping Center that's right there. There's several businesses and restaurants and stuff that are over there. There's actually a brand new Starbucks over there, if you have not noticed that yet. It just opened up just a few months ago. And there's a lot of opportunity there. So we didn't actually list this as part of the stuff that we're looking forward to in 2025 because we're not entirely sure what that entails yet or what is going to happen this next year regarding that particular neighborhood. But the fact that Sapulpa is doing anything with it at all is great. We all kind of understand that, I mean, I hesitate to use the word blight, but I mean, it's been a problem area for a long time. And so, you know, the fact that they're wanting to put some investment in it and really turn it around and make it an asset to the community is fantastic. So we're definitely looking forward to that. And that was announced last year. I'm going to skip ahead here to what was the biggest story that we published last year. And this is crazy to me that this was the biggest story. So this happened in May of 2024. And what this was, actually, we published the story in May. The stuff that led to the story happened earlier that year. And what it was is, what was his name? His name is Wyatt. That's it. Yeah, so Wyatt, who some of you guys, just because I'm saying that name right there, you're going to recognize this already. Wyatt is a boy from Bristow, and I think he was like 10 years old. Yeah, 10 years old. And this kid loves fishing. And he came up with his own lure. So he loves fishing with crinkle cut French fries, of all things. And he came up with his own lure that is shaped like a crinkle cut French fry. And him and his mom got together and they sent out for molds and they figured out how to make a fishing lure that had the, sorry, coughing. It had the same color as like the green with the flecks of glitter and stuff like that. Excuse me, I'm gonna get a drink here. Dry throat and I'm talking a lot. But anyway, so it had the same color as a regular fishing lure, but it had the shape of a crinkle cut French fry. And I kid you not, okay, I mean, listen, I'm not a huge fisherman, but I do some fishing. I've got several poles, I've got some bait and tackle. None of them look like a French fry. And if you had told me that, hey, I'm gonna go catch a big old bass on a French fry, I'd be like, okay, dude, you do you, man. Sorry, guys. But so yeah, when he told me he was doing that, I didn't have a whole lot of hope that was going to work out. And I'll be danged, that kid caught a fish on the literal first cast of his crinkle cut French fry lure that he had made. And then, so not only did they decide to make them, they decided that they were going to put the word out and see if they could sell these. And so, if I remember the story right, they put the word out on Good Friday that they were going to start taking orders. And all they did was they put it on a Facebook page. That's all they did. And but they have friends and stuff, they're really avid fishermen, and people from different bait shops and stuff started calling. They said, hey, we would like to try these. And as soon as they found out that he was able to actually catch fish on these things, and the novelty of the whole thing is so hilarious. It's almost like a gag gift for a birthday or Christmas or something, because they package the whole thing into what looks like a French fry container, and then they ship it to wherever. So they put that in there, and within 6 weeks, by the time that we did our story on this, they were selling in literally every state. Every state in America was buying these crinkle cut French fry, Wyatt's Fishy Fries fishing lures. And so we put the story out on that. It was a great story. It went gangbusters like we knew it would because it's such an awesome story. And then it got shared around a lot by folks who have bait shops and fishing enthusiasts and Facebook pages for anglers and things like that. And that was by far, I mean, that one story alone had well more than 60,000 views, which is more than what we usually get in a month. For all of our stories. And so that one story just blew everything else out of the water. I don't think that the next closest story was like 40 or something. So it just completely went gangbusters. So that was crazy. Fantastic story. I absolutely love that that was the story that we got to tell last year, that's the one that blew up out of the water, because there was a good, heartwarming story about a kid, kind of a little bit of a innocent thing, American dream, rural Oklahoma, good old boy kind of stuff. That's kind of stuff that we'd love to see in a good story. So that was a good story. And you guys can still read that on Sapulpa Times if you want to go see it. That is the story. You do need to have a subscription to be able to read that, though. So if you don't have one, go get one. Okay, let's pivot here and talk about 2025. So I don't know if you guys have been, those of you who watch the show on a regular basis probably have been noticing that I've been coughing quite a bit. Had a head cold or something right before Christmas hit. I thought I was over it, but I've had this cough that's continued to linger. So hopefully we'll be on its way out. So looking through the comments here, I see that some of you guys are not super excited about the snow. I'm sorry. I understand why. I mean, Oklahoma isn't really known for like the kind of snow that you get in Chicago or something. We get usually it's ice, and makes it difficult to get out and do stuff. And I get that. I am someone who kind of enjoys at least one good snow a year, though. Almost whenever it wants to happen. But we're about to hit that part of time. So I am going to work backwards here. Save the best for last, okay? So let's start by talking about some of the business openings and new ownership and updates and stuff that we can expect to see in 2025. Some of you guys may already know about some of this. First of all, we've got, to much fanfare, we've got the James Cali Brewing Company that just opened up, I think in October, maybe September, and fantastic new business. And I have, this is something I really believe. I think this business has the potential to draw more tourism to Sapulpa than almost anything else that we have in downtown right now. And I'm not saying that lightly. We got a lot to offer. I mean, this is Route 66. We're the heart of Route 66. But what Randy Cali and Jim Dilly are doing over at the James Cali Brewing Company is such a unique concept to a group of people who are very passionate about craft beer, that I can see that's just absolutely blowing up. Now, it's a very family-friendly venue. So if you're not someone who's into craft beer and stuff like that, don't be shy about coming to this thing, because they have the Chuck It girls, the hot dog Chuck It Axe girls. They're back there in the kitchen, and they are slinging a Reuben sandwich that if you haven't had, I promise you, if you don't like Reuben, you can eat this sandwich and you're going to be like, I like Reuben now, because this sandwich will make a believer out of anybody. It's fantastic. But what Randy and Jim are doing with that spot, for one thing, the renovation that they did to that building is second to none. You know, I remember when that building was a machine shop for a lot of years, and then it was closed for a lot of years. And it's funny because it has such a great historic nature to it that a lot of people would use it for, in fact, we did this, they would use it for backdrops and stuff. Come down here and get senior photos or engagement photos or something. A lot of them would stand in front of that building because it had such this historic kind of raw energy to it. Man, I gotta like get better about drinking before I start sounding like I need a breathalyzer or something. Anyway, I'm not a smoker, I promise. I know I sound like one, but so the renovation that they did on this building was fantastic. A couple years ago, let's see, not last year, I think it was the year before, they actually filmed an episode of a TV show in that building. And that was really cool to watch because they took what had been a machinist shop and turned it into a mad scientist lab. And it was based on a true story about the guy who created fake snow for the movie It's a Wonderful Life. And the show is narrated by Mike Rowe. Fantastic show to watch. You should definitely go check it out. It's called The Story Behind the Story, based on a podcast called The Way I Heard It. And we filmed several episodes of that show here in Sapulpa. That's a whole other story. Fantastic thing. It had a local guy who was an actor that was actually in there. And but that was neat to see that building get used for anything at all. And so the fact they used it for filming this episode was really cool. And then when I heard the building got purchased and that they were renovating it and putting a brewery in there, I thought, my thinking was more like, I don't know if you've ever been to Fassler Hall in downtown Tulsa, but that's what I thought that was going to be more like. Fassler Hall is very much kind of, it's a bar. You can't go in unless you're 21 or over. At least that's the way it used to be. But they had this really great program with like these hot dogs that they used to do, and I would go there when I was working in downtown Tulsa every Monday to get a Chicago dog, and they had French fries that were made in duck fat. They called them duck fat fries, and it was half off hot dog Monday, and so I was there every Monday. I'm gonna run out of water. That's what I thought was gonna happen. I could not have been more wrong. It is the most I don't know if exquisite is the right word, but I mean, the place did not look at all the same. And it was really great the way that Randy and Jim and Betty and Jennifer and everybody else who's involved in there managed to hang on to like this really cool industrial look to it with all the pipes and the tall pillars and stuff, and what they're using to actually move the hops and stuff around the distills. But, you know, they redid the floors, beautiful tile, put in that loft area. It's a really great place to spend an hour if you need to get away and just do some work on the computer, which I've done before, or if you want to go have a conversation in kind of a quiet environment. It's fantastic for that. But that being said, an amazing, amazing business. If you haven't been down there, be sure to go check it out. It's literally right next door to where I'm sitting right here, next to Sugar Llamas on Hobson Avenue. Be sure to check that out. They are closed right now. They closed after the Christmas shoot. They'll be opening again on January the 13th. And so when they open back up, be sure to go check them out. They're supposed to have a new menu there, but very glad to have them here and looking forward to a great 2025 for them. So anyway, they didn't pay me for that. I'm just super excited that they're here and a friend of mine and stuff. So really glad to see them open up business. Let's talk about what else we got. I don't know how many of you guys got to visit Maggie's Amish Cheese House. So that was another business right here on Hobson. A lot of stuff happening on Hobson these days. Right down the street. They were open just for the Christmas shoot. I think they're closed now, but they were kind of doing a pop-up, and they had Amish-made cheeses and breads and their fried pies and pot pies. And I mean, Retta was telling me before about, and I know what a good draw that Amish foods and stuff can be, but I wasn't prepared for everything she was going to have. She had pecans, she had crackers. I mean, it was jellies and jams and stuff. So when Retta finally gets this open for good, this is going to be a fantastic staple of the town. And I think, my understanding is she's going to have a little restaurant in there, so it'll be almost like a deli, which is going to be a great lunch option and stuff. So I don't have an open date for that yet, but we're really looking forward to that coming here soon, hopefully. So we will keep you in the loop on that as soon as we can. So those are a couple of the things that are opening. Let's talk about something that's closing. Tatanka Trading Post, they announced on the 26th. And Tatanka, you guys might remember, it used to be the Dewey Street Market. And then it was bought, and they kept it as an antique shopping mall. But they've decided to close that now. And I do have a little inside information about what they are looking to turn that into. It's been a while since I talked to the guys, so I don't know how accurate that information is now, so I'm going to keep it to myself. I'm going to let them be the one to tell you. I will say, if they do what they've talked about doing, this is going to be yet another instance of where Sapulpa has something that not very many places have, and certainly that Sapulpa had never had before, okay? And so especially if you're someone who's looking for more entertainment in Sapulpa, this is going to give you that. and I think it's going to be a great place to take your families, do stuff with friends after work, that kind of thing. If it is what I have been told it is. So, but anyway, they're closing. They're starting renovation. They're closing actually at the end of the month. So there's a lot of sales and stuff going on over there right now. Be sure to go check that out while you can. Getting while the getting's good, as they like to say. But that'll be closing at the end of the month, and then they will be opening at a later to be determined time with this new concept that they're going to do. And hopefully we will be first in the door to talk to you about that. So that will be one thing happening. Another business that closed really kind of suddenly, actually. Man, I am sorry, guys. I hope I'm not coughing right into the mic. Gold Diggers. I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with it. This is one of the bin store places that we have in Sapulpa. They were located up on Mission Street in the location that used to be way back in the day. I know because I worked there, but back when Blockbuster Video was here, you guys remember that where that was, over on Mission. And it's been a couple of things. Now it actually got split up, and now it's like a physical therapy. There's a bookstore over there, and then this other side has been the Gold Diggers. They closed for Christmas break. Like all of the Gold Diggers had more than one location. They closed. We assumed that they were going to be opening after Christmas, and they made the announcement on their Facebook page on December 26th that the Sapulpa location would not be reopening. So kind of sudden. I don't know what else is going to happen there. Don't know anything about that location. Might be available now if you're interested in that. So be sure to go check that out if that's something that interests you. Another business that we got to talk about is Chef's Coney Connection. So this is a staple of Sapulpa, believe it or not. It's funny because it's kind of tucked away over in the Research Shopping Center, the Rock Creek Shopping Center over there. But this business itself, I don't think it's always been called this, but they've been around for 40 years. And I love this place. I go there frequently, not as often as I probably should. But just the fact that we have an old-fashioned coney place in Sapulpa, I love that, okay? And I've made good memories with my kids, taking my boys there. It's something I went there with my dad growing up. And my wife has an aunt that every time she comes into town, that's where she wants to go. And so we got to go do that this time when she was in town for Christmas, and it was fantastic. And so the thing is, that business is for sale. They're not closing. I hope they don't close. That business is for sale, and they're looking for an owner. They're going through some health issues, and they need to sell that business. So if you're someone who wants to take on a business that has a good reputation and has a loyal lunch crowd, then you should really consider buying that one and maybe keeping it where it's at, maybe moving it, but keep it in business because it's something that Sapulpa, I think, has enjoyed for a long time, and I certainly would hate to see it go away. So that's one. We've also got the new Starbucks that's going to be opening up on Highway 97 right next to the Turnpike Gate. That's going to be opening up anytime. Like any day now, they're going to open. They've obviously finished most of everything that's happening there. They got the concrete, I think, poured for the parking lot. The building's finished. The sign is up. Last time I drove by there was still a dumpster there that they're probably using to get rid of the excess construction materials and stuff. And so I have been told that they are hiring, and you can go and apply to there on the Starbucks website, fill out an application if you need a job there. Of course, being Sapulpa Times, I am absolutely partial and loyal to a local coffee shop. But Starbucks is going to do what Starbucks wants to do. And, I can't blame them for opening that location. It's a good, highly trafficked area. There are a lot of you who are Starbucks fans and will frequent that spot. I just hope that if you are a fan of the mom and pop shops like Sugar Llamas, CTX, Buffalo Beverage Company, Crossroads Cookery, you guys will continue to shop those shops and keep them around too. Because we need those small mom and pop shops just as much as we might need a Starbucks, because it's just a different atmosphere, serves different needs. So let's see here. Tatanka, Maggie, making sure I covered everything. And then lastly, I'm going to give you a little sneak peek here. without naming who it is, my favorite coffee shop, if you watch the show enough, you know exactly who I'm talking about. My favorite coffee shop is getting sold. And the deal's not done yet, so I'm not going to say much more than that. But I will say it's going to continue to stick around. And I have been talking with the new owners. They're very excited about moving into Sapulpa and keeping this thing going. And so I'm just going to let it lie at that. I don't know. I don't know what kind of changes may or may not be happening, but you know, it's going to be a good year. 2025 is going to be a big deal. So I see a lot of you guys joining in on the comments now. Thanks for chiming in. Hope that your year is off to a great start. Let's now talk about the two biggest things that are going to be happening this year that we are the most excited about. And I'm going to go with second place, and then we're going to go right into first place. And when I initially did this stream, I started it, I was going to have graphics and stuff to show you. I was having some problems with the streaming software, so I don't have that now. So I'm sorry, you'll just have to go to the Sapulpa Times and see the story. But the number two most excited thing that we are excited about that's happening in 2025 is the groundbreaking for the new high school. This is going to be great. Guys, Sapulpa, their high school, I don't know the average age of a high school in Oklahoma, and I'm sure it is different depending on the economic things, you know, whether or not you have a tax base that can actually afford to build a new high school and things like that. I'm sure that that makes a difference. But Sapulpa's high school was old. And it was funny because when you read through our history, we've been through several high schools, and it feels like this is the one that stuck around the longest. I don't know that that's true, but we were at a point where we were spending close to, I think, $250,000 a year just to maintain things, to basically put lipstick on a pig, as the board members told me when we first broke the news that they were going to be doing this. And so this is a $279 million project. It is by far the largest school bond that we have ever done, and it includes a lot of things. It's not just the high school, but of course the shining crown jewel of it is going to be the high school and the Performing Arts Center and the renovation to the junior high there. And we've got the renderings available over on Sapulpa Times. You can see them now if you go look at the story about what we're most excited about for 2025. I would highly encourage you guys to go check those out. Building is gorgeous, guys. I mean, it is going. I'm talking with David Reed of Reed Architecture, who is the architectural firm that's doing this. And guys, again, man, kudos to Sapulpa for being able to hire a local guy to come in and do this. Not just a local guy, not just a local yokel, but someone with a pedigree and experience of being able to build these amazing schools and facilities that have done so much for Tulsa, for OSU, for churches and stuff. Some of the biggest and best buildings that you've ever seen have been designed, and we're going to get that. And I can't tell you how happy I am that we are going to get a school that is going to be setting the bar, raising the bar for schools in this area for maybe decades to come. And that's not just because of the building, that's because of the educational pathways program that we're taking. I mean, guys, we're going to see the kids that are coming out of Sapulpa schools go on to become some of the best employed, possibly the wealthiest, the most economically, financially solid people in this town. And I say that because I've kind of gotten a little bit of an inside look at what they're doing here. And it's not just preparing you for college, which is a great thing, but you know, they're also working to get them certified for different things before they even get out of high school. Maybe it's preparing them for a trade school, which by the time you get out of high school, you're almost ready to get your certification with this new way that things are going. So these guys are going to be able to come out of high school. They're not going to need to take a gap year to try and figure out what they're going to do with their life. They spent 4 years at Sapulpa High School figuring out what they're going to do with their life. And so by the time they graduate, that's just a doorway into the next great opportunity that Sapulpa Schools has been preparing them for. And so anyway, it's going to be a long process. It's not happening in 2025. It's going to be 2026, 2027, something like that. But the groundbreaking for this school is happening this month in January. And you guys have been by there, you've seen the fencing and stuff. They're preparing it. They've been putting out the alerts about the work zone and how we're having to change the way we drop off the kids and stuff. And it's going to be a mess there for the next year. Just be prepared for that. But this school is going to be the shining example. I mean, this is like the Chrysler building of Sapulpa or something. I mean, this is going to be something that, and the fact that it sits on a main thoroughfare, you're not going to be able to come here from Tulsa and not see this thing. Especially the next time they come down to the Christmas shoot or something, people are going to start looking at Sapulpa and they're going to say, wow, I did not know that Sapulpa was this kind of place. And yes, Sapulpa is becoming that kind of place. And 2025 is really going to be the year that we start to show that to the world. So we're super excited about that. That is the second most exciting thing that's going to be happening this year. The first most exciting thing is something that we have been waiting for 5 years. And it is, of course, the Dewey Streetscape redesign. Was brought on as part of the 2020 Geo bond, so a long time ago. Been waiting a long time for this, and part of the downtown master plan that happened. And I don't know if any of you guys got to be a part of those meetings and stuff, but they had this really great community meeting where they brought everybody in and they took in all of these ideas. And a lot of people said, hey, this is what we want to see in our downtown. We want to see more of a nightlife. We want to make it easier to walk around down here. We want to make it easier to have events here. We want to see more retail and more restaurants. And they said, okay, we're going to build you a downtown right here that is going to help facilitate those things. And so not everybody is happy about all the changes that are going to be happening. I know that. It's been a point of conflict and a topic of discussion for the entire time that we've been having those discussions about this project. So I did want to address some of the concerns that I saw on Facebook when we put this story out there. So first of all, if you haven't seen the graphics, go check out the story in Sapulpa Times. They're gorgeous. It looks fantastic. I will say it is not the first idea they came up with. The original renderings that they had some archways and some different things they wanted to do with the street that ultimately they were not able to do. Why weren't they able to do that? Well, so you guys remember that we voted on this in 2020. It was unanimously, not unanimously, but it was approved. All 6 propositions in the 2020 Geo bond were approved, and they were able to move full speed ahead. A lot of these things have already been done. The Fire Station 3 was one of those. The traffic light on 49th West Avenue was one of those. The new Ozark Drive that is over by the TP Drive-In was one of those, and the light that went out there. Renovation to the Sapulpa Police and maybe some cars also. But anyway, so this is kind of a big one that we've been waiting on. And when they passed it, it was for a certain amount of money. You guys might remember this little thing that happened in 2020 called the pandemic. Okay, and one of the things that happened from the pandemic was that it drove the cost of everything sky high. And while a lot of those costs have settled, construction costs in particularly are still a lot higher than they were in 2020. And so we had to go and find additional funding for this. They didn't want to levy the taxpayers or raise the mills on the taxpayers. In fact, I think there's state statute that prevents them from going above a certain level on that. So they went to go get funding, and they got that additional funding through the Oklahoma Department of Transportation. Now, part of that meant that ODOT had to be the one to handle the bidding process. So some of you guys might remember they actually let the bids out for this project in 2023, I believe it was, in November, and they only had 2 companies come back and respond to the bidding process, and neither of them were able to get this project complete in a time that would have been conducive to what Sapulpa wants to do with things like the blowout, the Christmas shoot, other stuff like that. So they said, listen, we need to find somebody that can get this done in a timely manner. And so ODOT comes in, they're handling the bid process. The idea is that that's going to draw some bigger firms that understand, that are maybe used to working with ODOT. So anyway, those bids go out this month in January. It gets let out for bid. And then we will have, I think it takes 21 days to collect all the bids. And then we will, sometime within the next month, hopefully, find out who is going to be doing the project. And it's going to be a big project. It is Dewey Street all the way from Maine, all the way down to Elm. And they are tearing the street completely up. They're expanding the sidewalks. Instead of a 4-lane road, it's going to go down to a 2-lane road with a center median. And it is all under the idea of making downtown Sapulpa more pedestrian friendly. You know, we got a lot of people who love to come down here and walk now. They love to visit our shops. They come down to see the Christmas shoot. They go down to Herald Square. There's a lot for people to do and see, but we have to make it safe for them to do so. And so this is what that does. That makes it very walkable friendly. We got a lot of folks in wheelchairs and motorized scooters. Well, part of expanding the sidewalks is going to be to make things more accessible for those folks. We're also adding in a lot of ADA compliant parking. And so some handicap parking that's going to be available for those folks. So the biggest change that most people have expressed a concern about is the fact that there is not going to be any parking on Dewey Street anymore. And so what does that mean? Does that mean that I won't be able to park my car in front of the business and just walk right in the door? Yes, that's what it means, okay? However, if you are someone who, for example, you have to drop your mom off at Studio One to get her hair done every week, is that no longer going to be an option? Well, no, that's not going to be an option because they have a lane there that is dedicated to what they call a loading zone, which is going to be exactly for those sorts of things, for dropping people off in front of the store. If you need to drop off and then pull around to go park, you can do that. If you drive a truck and you provide foods for Crossroads Cookery or something like that, this will be a lane that you can just pull into, unload, and then you can pull right out, and it won't impede the traffic by that much. And then it's going to slow the traffic down. That's been something, all of you guys who sit with me at Free Coffee Friday over at CTX, you guys know that sometimes you get these people that hit the light right there at Park Street and they come screaming down the street and it just echoes and it's loud and it's hard to have a conversation and stuff. And so this is going to put an end to that. You won't be seeing big trucks coming down Dewey Street anymore. The semis and things like that, they're all going to be redirected now down Taft Street. In fact, for the most part, they already have been. And so this is going to be an exciting thing. It's going to be, I'm going to be very just kind of frank about this. It's going to be painful for the next 6 to 8 to 10 months or something like that, okay? And so what that means is, as a community, we're going to have to pull together and be very intentional about supporting all of these shops that we're used to being able to just, you know, drive right up to and stuff. And so your CTX and your Vintage Market and Crossroads Cookery and Fully Flamingo and all of these other places that are down there that you're used to seeing because you drive right down Dewey Street, they're going to be put out of your mind for a while because you're going to have to find another way around, okay? And I'm just going to ask that you guys be very intentional about continuing to patronize these stores so that they can stay open during this time of year because it is going to be hard. A lot of them do rely on Route 66 travelers and things like that, and it's just not going to be an option for a little while. And so there are some things that may be kind of possible depending on what the contractor wants to do. They've talked about, should we shut down half the road or should we do it block by block? That's not up to us. That's all up to the contractor. So we're going to let them make that decision because the biggest thing is to get it done as quickly as possible and to do it right. And it's going to be a big, big undertaking. And so they're doing a lot of the infrastructure and stuff and that are going to be under these streets here. We don't know what they're going to run into. And so anyway, we're super, super excited about this. Downtown Sapulpa is going to flourish and thrive when this is over. It is going to, they're not closing the street completely. People who are used to coming and traveling Route 66 are still going to get to do that, only now they're going to get to do it slowly. They're going to get to kind of be able to see what all is going on and what's happening. And so when they see Vintage Market or they see Crossroads Cookery and they want to pull off and get a bite to eat or go do some shopping or something, they're going to be able to do that because they're not flying through town at 35, 45 miles an hour, as has been the case in the past. But of course, more than that, for you and me and those of us who live here, it's going to be just a really, really great downtown. Expanded sidewalks, think bistro tables and park benches and things like that out on the sidewalk. Think more restaurants downtown. Think more people. Think of a bustling, thriving downtown Sapulpa, just like we used to have. I really believe we're going to have that again once this is complete. So That is the thing that we are most excited about. And yes, the progress will be painful, but the other side of this thing is going to be absolutely amazing. And so we're looking forward to seeing all of this stuff happen. 2025 is going to be a great year for Sapulpa. We're really excited about what's happening. So hopefully in your life and your family and in your world, 2025 is going to be a great year for you as well. So that's where I'm going to end it today, guys. I want to thank you all for who tuned in and stuck around with me for the last 50 minutes. I do appreciate it. I hope that it was good for you. And I'm going to go cough my head off after I get the camera off. So thanks for tuning in, guys. I'll see you again on Friday, where we talk about all things happening in the town that we love. Happy 2025, everybody.